Greetings everybody, Davy back here with another video today, and today I just want to talk about the process of letting go underlying emotions, belief patterns, habits, and that sort of thing. And I just want to share that it's quite an undescribable, articulatable feeling when you hit upon and begin to release underlying beliefs, that in essence have molded you into the very being that you are. And I will say that these patterns, these habits, they start at a very young age. When between the years of 2 to 7 years old, we're in the theta brainwave frequency, right? And it's like we're recording everything that's going on around us. Things other people do, things we hear, things we see, and that begins to program us subconsciously. It's before we've ever developed the conscious mind or the intellect. It's before we've ever developed the ability or the capacity to say, wait a minute, I don't agree. I don't agree that, all redheaded people have tempers or money is the root of all evil, but the beliefs of our caretakers are most often our parents, and how they feel about themselves, each other, relationships, money, their health, so on and so forth. That becomes the imprint, that becomes the operating system with which many of us begin to operate from, right? And it starts to become habitual somewhere around the age of 35 years old. Says science, we actually become very, very habitual in how we show up in our lives. And the program is running in the subconscious mind, and we're operating on autopilot. So to begin to have an awareness of this, at first it's a very, very difficult process to go through. Now, I imagine that when sages, spiritualists begin talking of that internal work, and really seeking the answers from within, to delving into the subconscious mind and starting to contemplate, life, our health, spirit, the universe, they most often do not share the difficulties that are presented along this journey. And it really is quite difficult to put into words what kind of transformation this work can actually lead to. I've been working on releasing underlying beliefs and habits and patterns for a really long time, and I continue to do so today. And oftentimes they are ones that we don't even realize are there, right? And that underlying part, the deep subconscious programs that most often we don't realize are there, I can say from experience that the path is both incredibly difficult and incredibly powerful and transformational, and it's worth every step. So the one of the beliefs I want to talk about, I've actually carried around since infancy, and one that was not imposed on me purposefully, but it explains so much of my being, and it explains to me who I am, or who I have been, at least in my relationships, why I view life the way that I do, why I've asked questions that I'm told, I started asking questions really early on, around 13, 14 years old, that I'm told most people don't ask, until they're, 50, 60 years old. And so I want to invite you that if you want to make changes in your life, to begin to look inward, right? Begin to ask some really, really potentially deep and profound questions. Question number one, who are you? Who are you really? Not the perceived persona of who you think you are, not the ego, not the person that makes money or takes care of the family, right? But who are you really inside? I imagine that it's not to do paperwork or to, run around getting coffee for a boss, or, maybe it is just to take care of your kids or your family. And I imagine it's probably so much more than that. Where do you come from, right? So, and again, I imagine it goes much deeper and goes much further beyond your mother or your father or your parents. Obviously they had you in this lifetime, and from an oversimplification, of course you came from your parents. Of course, your mom and dad had a really significant, or at least played a really significant role in you being here. And I would invite you to go deeper. I would invite you to look into the idea, the concept that we come back with what's known as our Akashic records. We come back with our cellular memory from lifetime after lifetime. And I imagine that you have been here before, that you have done this journey before. And at some level of consciousness, when and again, these are my beliefs. You don't have to agree with them, but at some level of consciousness, after we die or before we come here, we have this omniscience, this omnipresence, this ability to know all, to see all, to remember all, right? And so we choose to come back here to this earth plane. Some call it the earth school, to actually begin to remember what we've forgotten when we take on these physical forms, right? So I invite you to look deeper and really ask, and sit with, where do you actually come from? How can I make lasting changes, right? So again, just, and this is not to say that anything in your life is wrong or incorrect, or, but just to, again, to invite you to this idea that, maybe there's more. Maybe you can feel more love. Maybe you can have more health. Maybe you don't have to be stuck in the hamster wheel, going to a job that you dislike, to make money for the house and the things and the family don't get to see or enjoy as often as you would like to, because you're so busy working. My invitation is that if you feel out of balance in any area of your life, right, and maybe you're sacrificing your health, maybe you're sacrificing deep connections and relationships, maybe you're even sacrificing fulfillment, right, to go to this thing, to make this, this imaginary paper that we've put a value on, to buy things that maybe are not in alignment or in resonance with really where you want to be or where you want to go in your life, right? And so if you're feeling stuck or out of balance in any area, I invite you into starting to discover who you are and what you're truly capable of. And you can do that with some of the tools that we offer at Origen, whether it's deep diving on a breath work. I've got a free self-mastery class that I host every month to take you into some of these concepts and these ideas. There's the Sacred Self program, which is a 6-month journey, or there's all kinds of other content. So all you have to do is check out origin.network. And I imagine that when you open up to making some of these changes, that the steps, the teachers, the programs, the services for you to fully step into that and create these changes in your life will begin to show up. And then finally, is there more to life? Is there more to my life than meets the eye? And what I mean by that is that, this world that we live in, we are so conditioned to perceive everything through our senses, right? And what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, that's really all there is. Did you know that we only actually perceive one billionth of the light spectrum? So there are X-rays and radio waves and ultraviolet rays and all of this light spectrum that we're not able to see or perceive from our senses. Dogs can hear whistles that we can't hear, right? So there are these frequencies that are outside the range of our senses. And so again, the invitation is that maybe life is not just what you see is what you get, but if you go deeper than that, if you shut off the senses, if you turn off the outside world through, again, things like breathwork and meditation, then you can go much, much deeper and start to perceive more than that one billionth of the light spectrum. You can start to perceive a little bit more of the reality that really is going on all around you all of the time, right? And so the invitation is to really go deeper. And is your reality based on just what you're perceiving through your senses? And if that's the case, are you maybe operating on autopilot based on things that you learned at such a young and tender age? Now, these are just a few questions to get you started on your journey. There are many, many more that I've contemplated about the universe and my place in it and God and everything else. And, again, if you just open to the idea that something within you is greater than any circumstance or situation or person, and that you really are powerful beyond measure, then you can begin to take this journey within, this journey of epic proportions. And I promise you, when you do, you know that the journey, it's the most fascinating, educational, extraordinary, scary, difficult, healing, rewarding, awe-inspiring, expanding, life-changing thing that you can ever do for yourself. It's the most noble endeavor that we can each go on, is to truly know ourselves. And it really begins with a single step. We'll see you on the next video. If you like this one, click the subscribe button and like it as well. Turn on your notifications. I'm going to be sending and sharing a lot more of these videos coming up each week. So we'll see you on the next one, folks. Cheers.